Hello everyone and welcome to Muddy River News This Week, furnished by Harvey's. I'm Bob Goff. Chris Gill is my guest today. He's the Chief Administrative Leader of the Quincy Catholic Elementary Schools. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That title's a mouthful, but
it is the Cal, if you put it in parentheses.
When did you begin your new duties?
Recently, October 2nd was my first day, so this is week 2 in the job. So yeah.
And you're no stranger to the area, of course.
No, I lived here for 10 years, came in 2011, and left in 2021, so I was here for 10 years.
And you worked for Culver Stockton College at the time?
I did. I was the Dean of Students there.
And what made this job, aside from coming back to the area, what made this job attractive to you?
A couple things. I am pretty passionate about my faith, so any job where I can work with my faith as part of my job, I think that's pretty exciting to do that in an area that I love. I've come to love Quincy and the surrounding areas, but also to do something new. This is a new position, and we've never had anybody in this role before, so to be able to start something like that and be the trailblazer, so to speak, I think that's exciting.
It is. I mean, when you have this base, I mean, it's not quite a blank slate, but it's pretty close. Where you can sit here and last week I know the bishop was here and
yes,
he kind of gave Quincy the green light, so to speak, to present him with a plan.
That's
basically,
correct.
Right?
That's correct. Yeah. So he's given us some directives that we need to accomplish before we become like canonical and legal entity known as Quincy Catholic Schools. So
what's the timeline?
So there isn't really a timeline. He just wants this to be completed. I think he didn't really say it needs to be done by February or by next year. We've kind of put the board, there's a provisional advisory board that's been working on this before I even got here since the start of this academic year. I think we'd like to get a lot of these mandates done by, late winter, early spring, so that we can start moving forward with bringing all of us together as a system. So,
do you think that will be in effect for the 24-25 school year then?
I don't think. Well, let me think about that. So, I think we will be an entity known as Quincy Catholic Schools, but I don't think you'll see any changes with the school year, the schools themselves for fall 2024, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So they will still be kind of their own entity. As far as when that might all change, that is still up in the air, and that's going to be dependent upon this strategic plan that we're working on.
So the ground level is basically let's start coordinating all of our efforts in buying supplies.
Right.
Let's do all of this among the 4 schools we have now.
Right.
Get that part of it done. Basically the accounting, if you will, I
Correct.
guess.
Yes.
And then from there, it's like, okay, then what's next?
Where can we work smarter and not harder? Where can we collaborate more? What's best for our families in the formation of their faith and their education, and really looking at that. And this strategic plan that we're trying to develop, which is a 5-year plan, will really guide us on what's the best for each campus, each parish, each family, and moving forward with that. So
I lived in Quincy for 30-some years now, and being Catholic myself, we went through the first consolidation, if you will.
That in 2005.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
So
I've heard lots about that.
We went from 7 to 4 parishes, or 8 to 4, whatever it was. It doesn't seem like, any people don't like change in general, but I really can't see, and judging from the bishop's remarks, I really don't see this being as quote-unquote painful as the last time.
I don't think so, and I wasn't here in 2005, but from what I understand, the way I see that this is a little bit different is there wasn't as much communication or transparency about what happened back then. It was a surprise. From what I understand from talking to families and to other administrators that were part of it. I just kind of happen and says this is what's going to happen, kind of almost a top bottom. Even the bishop wasn't even part of that in 2005. This is more from the ground up. We've been communicating from the start. There's been listening sessions. We send these community updates about what's going on. All the principals are part of the discussion. There's a lay board representative of each of the parishes, as well as the foundation and Quincy Notre Dame. Mark McDowell is part of that as well. So this is more of a community effort. So if there is going to be any change or anything that's going to happen, it's not going to take anybody by surprise, and hopefully it's a community-led effort too.
Well, one of the big things, the big adjustments back then, along with the parish consolidation, was also the uniform tuition, which had never been a thing.
Yes.
And you'd always had this gerrymandering and people who wanted to go. And I was a member of St. Peter's, and Father Bauer was always very, tuition's going to stay here, and it's like, well, you're so much lower than everybody else, and people are just going to move and try to figure out how to. I'd much rather pay $600 a year than $1,200 a year.
100%. Yeah.
So now that this is in place where everybody has that, now it's just. Is there anything where? Are boundaries going to be reconsidered as part of this?
Everything is on the table as far as I'm concerned. We're going to look at everything. What's best for our families, though, is that needs to be the focus. Not what's best for this facility, but what's best for our Catholic school families, or actually the entire Quincy community. So we're going to look at everything. I can't really say if any of the boundaries are going to change because we haven't done our 5-year plan yet. So.
Well, and another part of a possibility of the 5-year plan is also a middle school, junior high, what have you. Yeah. That is also on the table as well.
That's on the table. That's correct.
But again, we're in such the beginning stages of this.
We are in the beginning stages.
Do you know which school would be that?
We don't even.
You build one or whatever.
Yeah, I can't even comment on that because you're right. I don't even. I don't know, and this has only been my second week. So right now, I'm still in the process of meeting people, meeting the board members, meeting the principals. Listening to them, finding out what they want and what they see as a path forward. So,
but again, it's also just coordinating all these events. For example, St. Peter's also in the beginning of a capital campaign too.
That's correct.
So how does that play into?
Well, yeah, we got to look at all that.
Picture?
There's a lot of excitement on, unifying all of us because exactly what you just said about what's happening with St. Peter's, that's not just going to benefit St. Peter's in the future. That could benefit the entire Quincy Catholic school system. So I think it's exciting on whatever we're doing at any of the campuses because it's ultimately going to affect our students and our families.
Is when you talk about this structure, and again, whenever you're building a foundation, it's also done, the main focus is to continue Quincy's long tradition of Catholic education from K through graduate school.
Yes.
Which is rare for a town this size.
Correct.
But part of that is also strengthening, Quincy, how do we bolster Quincy Notre Dame's enrollment? How do we do that? This all does fit together.
Absolutely. It's not just kind of, we're looking just at the elementary school level. Hopefully eventually all of this is going to benefit Quincy Notre Dame and ultimately even Quincy University. The bishop has even said this is a unique opportunity where you have the ability to start in preschool and go all the way until you get a college degree, even a master's degree at a Catholic institution, and that doesn't happen everywhere you go.
You got to be a lot bigger city
unless
normally.
You're in St. Louis or a bigger city, not in a town like Quincy. And I think that's pretty exciting. So you're right. It's going to benefit everybody. We want it to benefit everybody. We want this to be something that's strong for the entire system. So,
has anything surprised you yet?
That's a great question. Has anything surprised me? I guess the one thing that has surprised me is I kind of came in a little bit thinking that, oh, there's going to be some resistance. I gotta steel myself. I gotta like put some armor on before I talk to some people, if you know what I'm saying. And I haven't hit that yet. And maybe that's still come because I'm new and people are being kind to me, maybe because in my first couple weeks. But I haven't hit that yet. I know that this is the future can be scary for a lot of people. But right now, I think people are hopeful. They want what's best for the Quincy area and for Catholic education. I've only met with people that have been very supportive of what I've been tasked to do and where we're going. So I guess that's the biggest surprise right now. I haven't had to steel myself yet for that, but maybe that's coming.
Nah. Probably not. I think you're fine. Also, I mean, as far as just your day to day, how often do you find yourself going to the 4 parochials and kind of checking in with the principals and things like that?
So I'm meeting with each of the principals, and I met with 3 of the 4. I'm going to St. Dominic's later this week. I'm meeting with the principal there. My goal is to try to get on all the campuses as frequently as possible. And, after I get that done, I want to meet with the faculty of each of the schools. I think that's going to be important. I'm sure the families of each of the schools will want to meet me and just kind of, pick my brain. So I'm going to go with those. Those are kind of like my visionary where I want to meet with people right now. So meeting with each of the parish priests as well. But right now it's been the principals and the board members that I've been focused on meeting with right now. So.
And as part of that, you talk about you don't want to be seen as somebody sitting in an ivory tower.
No.
And so I think it's important for you to be boots on the ground and make those regular appearances.
Yeah, exactly. But I also don't want to get in the way either.
Well, sure.
There's a I don't see myself as a micromanager. I'm too busy to micromanage. Mm-hmm. It's the principal's job to run the school, right? I want to just, what can I do to support them, remove obstacles in their way, and enhance their strengths so they can do their job even more effectively. And then we can work together as a system for the betterment of our students. So,
yeah, I mean, it's all about shared resources.
Absolutely.
It's all about, okay, maybe how do we make it so, art and music and what have you are more flexible and more, better to serve our students. And also, like you said, like we talked about earlier, just the supplies, simple things like buying paper and things like that.
Right. But it's even more than that. It's the sharing of ideas, coming together and say, we had this religion class and we took it this way and it worked out really well. And then another, one of the other schools is like, wow, that's great. Maybe I can use that in my classroom, or I can recommend that to my faculty. Or we did it this way and it didn't work, so avoid that kind of thing. I think even the sharing of ideas is even going to help us. So.
And you'll work closely with Sarah Russell at the foundation and everything too, correct?
She's great. I've been working with her very closely. She's literally, we're in the same hallway. So my office is located at St. Francis, where her office is. She joked that she's excited that I was there because she now has somebody else to talk to in that hallway. So we've been, I see her daily. And she's been a great resource. So yes, I'm going to be working very closely with the foundation.
Well, again, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the job and serving our students. And I think this is a great opportunity for Quincy to, again, I think it's all about, bolstering Catholic education for the future, making it stronger, and making it so, we're by the time we're all long gone from here, we still have, that opportunity to go K through college here in Quincy.
100%. That's what we want. We want to dictate our own future. We don't want the future to tell us what we're going to have to do. And I think that's the whole point of this whole process, is that we can be more in control of what happens in the future. And we want, Catholic education to remain in the Quincy area for years and years and years to come. So,
Chris Gill, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
That's all the time we have for now. I'm Bob Goff. We'll see you next week.